Good morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome to it is Tuesday, 2/22/22. I don't know if we have any other Palindrome fans in the house, but it's Tuesday, and we like to call it Taco Tuesday around here. We want to thank Jeff Moore and Brian Curtis from Osirs for joining us today. We're very excited to have them both in the house. We always get questions from you guys about how to use our systems, how to put them together, how to make them work. And we'd like to kind of take the heavy lifting off of your plate, and we'd like to introduce you guys to Osirs. And we're really excited to have them here to talk through what they do and how they do. And we thank you guys for joining us. Why don't we get started with Jeff, if you don't mind? Why don't you give us a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate and coaching adjacent, and then into this fun world of Zapier and Osirs?
Sure. Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you guys having me, man. This is awesome. And I've been really excited to partner and work with you guys on this stuff because I do think the scoring system is kind of the way of the future with us combating the portals and getting, a good cost per lead, but as well as getting after these guys, at a heavy board. So I started in real estate now, 13, 14 years ago. And I've had a team, for quite some time. And somebody just before COVID started, somebody said, "Wow, the systems you've built, you should be doing for other people because they're good." And I started looking at that and I go, "Wow, I guess there is a gap here, right? Like there's so much great technology in real estate that gluing things together to make it all one seamless kind of transition is hard to find." And so we decided to go for it, and that's how we've built. And so we're looking for gaps and holes to plug with solutions and technology, and we've been able to do that. And so it's been fun. I mean, it's for the Revaluate piece, the coolest part is that the scoring is good, and now we can execute automated follow-up systems for you. So what a great solution to get after those leads. So it's been fun, man.
That is so cool to hear that you're kind of the hole to fill the plug. I mean, there's so many different ways of going about building your tools and building your systems. It's cool to hear that you guys are really kind of holding their hands, so to speak, and helping them utilize everything. So why don't you get into a little more about actually what Osirs is and what it does, besides just kind of filling those holes?
Yep. So what we do is we first will meet with somebody and kind of get a sense on their vision and their outlook of their organization, right? So, because I like to build with the end in mind, right? Because then if we know what they're shooting for, then we can execute the systems to accomplish that. And so
Yes.
then we kind of see where do they fall in? Do they need like a full system foundation, right? Where we install like scalable lead flow, scalable for agents, notification system. And ideally, it's so that the agents on a team or even by themselves, their workflow is incredibly simple. Like if we can get them to focus on one or two things and the systems kind of take care of it around that, then they can focus on the higher dollar per hour activity, right? So we kind of focus there. So if you're a system foundation user, we build that. If you're an individual, we also have individual solutions that you're like, hey, I'm good with my systems, don't touch them. But if you need us to come in there and create a post-appointment text, system to hold appointments accountable, if you need, like the post-AD action plan system or, YLOPO alerts, right? Stuff like that. There's all these little individual things that we built just to plug, the holes of organizations that we see across the country. So the first step is to get together and kind of assess that, and then I can guide you into the right spot because I don't want you to be unhappy in 6 to 8 months and us plug you in the wrong areas. We got to get you into a spot where you're scalable and it's functional and you're making money on it, quickly. So that's kind of the approach that we've been taking.
So it sounds like you've got everything from like a full system set up to like a la carte stuff for the people who just have like certain gaps but don't need the entire thing. If I'm hearing what you're saying right, and that's awesome because we
Yeah.
have the full spectrum in our client base. We've got people who have really robust systems that they have built out a bunch of stuff, but there are still a couple of gaps all the way to people who live off of spreadsheets and out of their inbox and don't even use the CRM and everything in between. And so if I'm an agent who is like, okay, I want to use Revaluate service, but like let's say they don't have a CRM that they're married to at this point, what would be like kind of your first recommendation in getting a system up and started? Or like, where would you start with someone who came to you that didn't really have much of anything in place to begin with?
And my thoughts are, Brian, you can correct me, is I would start with what's their outlook of their organization and what do they want to accomplish, and reverse engineer it into the right platform, because there's more than one way to skin a cat. And if we just start recommending the most attractive options, it might not be the right fit. So I would ask the questions of, do you want to grow a team? Do you want to just be a single agent that has leverage? What do you want to do? And then go, okay, then you definitely need a CRM as the first step. And I would recommend Follow Up, Chime, right? Like the Sierra. I'd recommend those three as a top three, because they're affordable, but they're really easy to use from the agent's perspective, and they play really nicely with everybody. So it's going to help leverage you big time. So that's where I would start.
And you help build.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Ultimately, your CRM has to be the foundation of your business. And I don't want to go to the extreme. If you don't have a CRM, you don't have a business, but you're borderlining on that statement, because realistically, it's not 2005. When I started in 2005, I closed a lot of transactions on yellow sticky notes and yellow pads of paper, and that worked just fine. When you're getting 5 to 6 leads a month, you really don't need to automate that, and that's how it was. The lead quality was significantly higher, so we still closed a bunch of business. But ultimately, in the world that we live in today, it's one of the reasons that a company like Revaluate exists. If I've got 50,000 people, I can't call all 50,000 people every week. I can't call all 50,000 people every month. So what do I have to do? Is I have to figure out who is going to be the next hand raiser. And the truth of the matter is, we know for every internet lead or for every closing, there's somewhere between 10 and 12 internet leads created. So it's just a bigger pile that we got to sort through today than we did, say, 15 years ago. So we need systems to create hand raisers, and then we need systems to follow up with them. Mm-hmm. And Jeff and I exist simply because of the fact that there's so many great systems, but they weren't designed to play together. They were designed as an individual standalone. Hey, this is a great system. Yes, it is. But my agent doesn't want to log into it. We talk about this all the time. The avatar for the average agent is a 48-year-old woman. So, and this is not a male, female. Let's just say a 48-year-old person. Let's not go down gender roads. Most of those people are not excited to learn a bunch of new tech. It's just the reality. You can have weird people like me who just love tech and want to learn that, because that's my age range. But there's most people are like, look, I just want to go sell a house. So that's one of the reasons that our company exists. That's one of the reasons that your company exists, is because I need people to help me do my job. There's too much data. So.
Yeah. What's really cool about both of you guys' answers there, you can tell your backgrounds in coaching and working with people to identify what they want to do, rather than just like force feeding them what you think they should do. And
Sure.
That's one of the things that I really like about working with your organization and you guys, is that you've got that background. You're not just hawking a product, so to speak. You're trying to help people enhance their business, and you want to see them on their terms. And like, just the way that you both put that is so staunchly different from a sales pitch that you get from any product team or anything like that. And having been in sales as long as I have, and worked with organizations like the ones that you guys have worked for and the one that you work for now, it's refreshing to hear the client-focused mindset coming into setting people up. With that in mind, like, who is the ideal kind of client for Osirs and I know we've kind of touched on it already, but like, do you typically work more with individuals, more with teams? What's that look like for you guys as far as a perfect footprint?
If we were to look at our client database and see what the median is, it's probably a small team, right, to medium, size team. We have a lot of individual clients that come to us for that CRM, organization and setup, and then as far as plugging in one or two things. But for the medium-sized, teams, they're either like, I'm ready for an overhaul. I'm ready to get this all cleaned up and have a good, clean foundation moving forward. Or I've already got that, but I need to get these things working better. So let's get the the HomeBot, the Cloud CMA integrations dialed in, stuff like that. And so that's why we've developed those two avenues to help. So that way it's like, look, you don't need to do this full big thing. You can do a single solution without it being brain damage and not being too costly. So that makes sense.
I think a lot of teams too, most team leaders that I've spoken to over the last 5 to 7 years, they didn't intend to build a big team. So they started, I'm just going to have 1 or 2 agents, right? And then they're like, hey, well, this is kind of cool. Maybe I would get 3 or 4 agents. So they didn't begin necessarily with the end in mind. And when you don't begin with the end in mind, you're patchworking things together. And, full disclosure, I did that. I'm speaking from firsthand experience, not from, so I did. So that's another area I feel like we can be very valuable for the person who all of a sudden found themselves as a 10-person team, a 15-person team. And that wasn't necessarily their plan to get there. And now they're like, well, I've got all these systems and they kind of talk to each other. But I realize anytime I bring a new agent on, they get brain damage trying to figure out how to connect this. The people have been with us for a year and a half, they've got it figured out. But that's really a challenge. Onboarding's challenging anyway. So, we really love to get with those people, help them streamline those processes and just get them so where the average person can plug in without being a tech genius and just say, okay, I can just plug into this and this and this and this, and streamlining those systems, because there's a lot of redundancy out there. Everybody knows that, because again, they weren't necessarily developed to work together. They were developed as standalone. So we definitely appreciate that. It helps us a lot. So go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say, like, that standalone is important to kind of stay in your lane a little bit, right? Because then you can be really great at that one thing, and let other companies develop around that. And I think it's a challenging area of standardizing it to where clients they're bolted on to what you've got, or do you adjust to what the client has? And I'm trying to blend those two where we're a customized option that's standardized, right? And that's a really tough territory to be in for development's sake. I think that's where we got to go, because everybody has their own spin on how they want to do it. There's little nuances for their localities, all that stuff. And so that's been our approach as of late.
I feel like you're really helping with that, like, analysis paralysis. Like, there's so much thrown at everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And so does that kind of go on beyond this? Is this like, kind of a strategy onboarding setup and then you kind of let them go on their way? Or is this an ongoing kind of help situation? What are they getting when they sign up for Osiris?
For the system members, it depends on who they are and how they want it, but they can get up to, a certain amount of time per month with us and work through anything, right? Like, sometimes they come to us for consultations on working with new lead sources, new systems, new other things. And we're kind of that first stop shop to give them that advice and that help. Right. So that's a part of it. For those that go, no, we're good, then they don't ever reach out, and we don't ever need to get on the calendar with them. We do every maybe 3-4 months, but it just depends on who they are. But that's always available, to anybody in that space. I mean, it's really available to anybody. Right. But we're going to be, since we know your business, it's like being your own professional part of your team. We can give you some really good advice because we know what you guys are doing. Right. That's hugely helpful without having to go spend, like 60, 70 grand on a in-staff employee to do all your systems and tech. This is kind of the outsourced option in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
We get asked all the time from people who are just getting started. Okay, yeah, I have this stuff or I have that stuff, but content is always a question that we get asked all the time. So when it comes to setting up their system for them, are you providing that content for them, or is it they have to plug in their own stuff, or how does that look for somebody who comes to you guys?
Yeah, so specifically for Revaluate, since you were talking about your clients, we've actually built out drips that go out for about 120 days. And, Ryan, you and I have talked about it, and I've talked to somebody else, left my brain what his name is. But, ultimately, the data that you've gotten from Alto says that if a lead comes in and its score hits 80 or above, that it's like 19, it's 19 and change, I'm going to round up. There's a 20% chance that that person's going to transact in the next, 120 days. So, again, back to what we said originally is, hey, what do we do with that? That's fabulous, but what do I do? Call them every day? Well, we don't have time to do that because, you know, you might have hundreds and hundreds of these in your database. And by the way, they change all the time, right? That's kind of a move. Those 80 scores are moving targets based on what those people are doing, which is what's cool about the data. So, you know, yes, we built this out. Now, you know, some of those systems you may not have, and those are options that you can do. But ultimately, we're working with the system that sends out a postcard. That's where our drip starts. And then we start communicating via it's either agent legend or call action. Basically, it's a drip that goes out and starts, and then, you know, we follow up with other things. It just goes on and on and on, and then it resets in 30 days, sends another card, and it's so, and all of that is intended to have contact with people. We also use HomeBot inside there. So one of the things that we know about HomeBot is people love that. They don't unsubscribe barely ever. So, you know, that's kind of an ever in front of them piece. And then of course we have integrations when people interact with that stuff, so you can see it in your CRM. Hey, they interacted with this or they interacted with that based on, you know, what our marketing was. And, you know, that's kind of my area, is building out the content. You know, Jeff handles a lot more of the tech side. I'm a little higher level. He gets into the stuff that I don't want to do. I want to do it, but I don't have enough time to learn it. So he handles all of that. So, you know, we built out this content, and it's pretty good content, you know, pat myself on the back, but it's based on what people have done and getting pretty good reactions from it. And again, we're not guaranteeing that our content's going to be perfect, but I don't think anyone else has even bothered to write content along the lines of what do I do when I get an 80, and ours is, I don't know, what, about 40 different steps that we've there, Jeff? I don't remember off the top of my head, but quite a few.
I mean, there's quite a bit. And I mean, I was going to say, like, I got a C in English. You don't want me writing any content, but it's just kind of an awkward conversation. Like, hey, you just scored an 82 on my system and I'm supposed to call you. Like, it's kind of an awkward conversation. Like, what are you supposed to start with? And this is a great, like, lead in. I use the analogy of, you know, lack of a better analogy, but, you know, Amazon targeting a ad to me based on my behaviors. My behavior's natural, and that ad is a natural thing, and it might attract me to click. That's the same up here, right? It just seems like that whole ecosystem around that is really important. So we got to nail that down, and so we get people into HomeBot, right? We get people into just a text strip with like some GIFs that Brian has written, you know, voicemail drops, and it's automated. Right? It's automated. And whenever somebody responds, you get that notification, and that's your cue. Right. Yeah. And that's the important piece of, like, you're not spending your time with just anybody. It's not even just the 20%. It's the top 20% of that group that's responded. That's worth my time. Right. And that's huge. Huge.
Yeah. We talk about all the time, and I tell people both in our demos and our live streams that, you know, we get lumped in with lead generation at Revaluate a lot, but it's not really lead generation, it's opportunity surfacing. And so when we say, hey, this person's likely to move, they're still in that pre-hand raise. They haven't consciously said reach out to me yet. And so systems like that market to them and create that hand raise scenario are so valuable, because, like you said, like, if they click on this or they engage with that, that's your trigger to make the phone call. So it's not out of the blue, hey, I was creepily watching you, but it's like, hey, you clicked on this thing, and yeah, I delivered that thing to you because I knew that you were going to be receptive to it, but I don't need to get into all that because now you've raised your hand or engaged with something. Right. That's the key for sure.
Well, and to piggyback on that is, you're trying to capitalize on that person before they have the intention of going to a portal and signing up, because that's what their likelihood is going to happen. And so if you can get to them before that and start to train them into your world, they'll never have to go anywhere else. Right. And that is super valuable in our ecosystem today.
Because now you have them.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people aren't thinking about nowadays is they want people that are down at the bottom of the funnel. We all want those people, right? But those people have talked to 10 realtors by the time you get to them. So, you know, I'm a big and guy. Yeah, give me all the bottom of the funnel people I can. But what I'd really like to do is cut the funnel off up here so that you don't go down and talk to all these other people before you get to me. So we're trying to get ahead of that. And again, we're using your guys' data to do that. and it's not, hey, by the way, your score's an 80, call us. That's not that. We're just, we're subtly marketing to people. It's kind of like I studied a couple of years ago. Divorce is like 63% of people who are getting divorced are going to sell their house within 12 months. So, but you don't send them a postcard that says, hey, I hear you're getting divorced. You should sell your house with me. You need to be a little bit more subtle and just kind of, go in there and just be the person who's in front of people all the time, because it's the right person saying the right thing at the right time. So theoretically, you guys have identified the right person, and then we're hopefully, the right time and having the right message. So that's really what we're trying to combine those two technologies together.
Yep. And managing it from the beginning to the end. Like, that's the big thing too. You touched on it there as well. Like earlier you were mentioning how, lead quality used to be much higher because there were fewer leads generated. With all the leads that are generated now, everybody has gotten kind of lazy and reliant upon someone generating that lead for them. But what a system like this does is takes that back in house, like remanaging the population and generating your own leads through intelligence and through consistent, persistent messaging that's automated, so that it's just like somebody else doing it, but you're in control of that environment, or in this case, you guys are in control of setting it up for them so that they can be in control of it.
Yeah,
and it allows us to also put data in there and create a message. So like we mentioned, we're sending out somebody a postcard first. And so if we don't have the right to necessarily talk to that person, what I mean is like put them on automated stuff, we've got ways for them to basically opt in. Legally, we're not saying opt in, because again, I don't like to hit stuff on the nose. It's less effective, but we have ways to do that so that you can get more of those 80s to engage with you. And I think that's something else a lot of people don't think about. Yeah, I've got all this great data over here, but I'm not allowed to call them. I'm not allowed to email them because of, TCPA and stuff like that. So we're also working about, that's why we have postcards. They go out and, theoretically we can get some responses and get opt-ins, so more people will be willing to talk to us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what does somebody do if they want to get a hold of you guys? How does somebody sign up? How do they get a hold of all the awesomeness that we talked about?
So there's a couple ways, right? So if you go to osirs.co/schedule, that is our schedule link to schedule a demo if you want some information on anything else besides the sign up process, right? And if you want to consult and talk it through, happy to, and put you in a good spot. The other place is revaluate.osirs.co. That is the actual Revaluate sign up form. And we've got a couple options there, but the cool part on that sign up form is it's really simple. I've simplified the heck out of it to where you just pick the follow-up systems that you now want to work with, and you plug in a couple details, and then we'll do the setup for you, right? And that sign up form shouldn't take you very long, and it'll get you activated with some post AD automations for you pretty quickly.
You want to throw that link at me one more time, Jeff? It would Revaluate.
So, revaluate.osirs.co.
All right.
And if they don't have the systems already, you can point them in the direction of getting any of the systems that they would need to sign up for, or do you guys do the sign up for them, or how does that work if I'm coming in blind, but I know I want to set all these things up?
Yep. So real quick, the Osirs is OSIRS. One
I added an I on you.
I try to get two eyes, but there's a shoe brand out there, I guess.
Oh,
I guess they're pretty big. I don't know. But yeah, we'll help you get those set up for sure. I'm going to give you my recommendations. We're not affiliated with those guys by any means. We just want to make sure that people are in a good spot. But yeah, we can get you set up and signed up. But we prefer that you already are signed up with them, even if it's a blank slate. Then that helps tremendously, just to get you set up. Yeah.
But yeah, we're a consultation company first. So, we can do that, 30-minute, hey, by the way, these are your options, go out and research, or we can talk to you about it. So we don't want people to feel like, oh my gosh, I can't use your program because I don't have Follow-Up Boss, or I don't have Chime or whatever. So by all means, we'll consult with you, and of course it's easier for us if you already have it set up, and that's 2 thumbs up. That being said, we're definitely willing to consult with people on those things as well.
Yeah, and we're developing more and more things, as we go. So if anybody wants to, if they see a gap, if they see a place where, I really like to have people focus on a gap that's going to help you make money if I plug it, right?
Yes.
Like that's the only thing that makes sense to put time and effort behind, is if it's going to make you money. And if you see those, like, we're all ears, right? We want to help solve those specific solutions for people, to help your business. So let us know.
If people are curious, they want to learn more, are you guys going to be at any conferences coming up, any more webinars coming up, anything else you guys are going to be at or going to be around?
Yeah, we're going to be releasing a number of things here with Brian. We're going to be out at the White Level Frontier.
Awesome.
And so we're going to get more and more active. We're going to start putting together more content and for people to see. So yeah, look for we've got a Osiris community Facebook group and page, and we're going to start plugging more and more stuff into that. So take a look at that. I think it's the Tech Success Community. So take a look at that. But yeah, feel free to reach out to us if you got any questions. Check out the website. Again, we're happy to help from your point of view, not from ours, and get you put into a good spot. So
awesome. Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us today. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. I can always help get you in touch with these guys. Yeah, we really appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Yep.
Any last thoughts before we close it out here, guys?
Mine is just thank you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak on, with you guys on this, and hopefully it's been a helpful tool, and we'll hopefully be able to expand on it and, create some great things. So we're all ears, man, but I appreciate the opportunity. It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I talked to so many of you guys that are hopefully watching right now, and we're always talking about this and how to get some help with your automations and your tools. So reach out to me today, comment below, reach out to Jeff, and let's get you guys helped out. So cool. We will talk to everybody soon. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brian. Yep. Thank you, Ryan, as always. And we will catch you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.